Big news coming out of Columbus, Ohio hit Twitter last night, and it is that the Remington Award hopeful of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Seth McLaughlin, has been injured in practice on Tuesday, and the rumor is that he suffered a torn Achilles that would put him out for the rest of the year. Now, the injury does seem certain at this point. You have multiple news outlets reporting that sources indicate there is some kind of injury. Those are the Columbus Dispatch had it first, and On3 Letterman Row has also reported on that. The idea here right now is that somebody who was a spectator at practice, this is not like a fan, this is somebody who is connected to the program, but not necessarily a coach, who was a spectator at practice, did see Seth McLaughlin get injured at practice. It looked like it was something serious, possibly an Achilles tear. However, they are still working on MRIs and trying to confirm that that is the case. And obviously, the person who was at practice did not go with Seth to the hospital and figure all that stuff out. But if true that Seth McLaughlin is injured, this would be a huge loss for Ohio State. I would assume something that would be a concern of an Achilles tear would at least put him out for 1 week, which does make this a problem for Ohio State heading to Indiana. Now, we talked about this on the live stream about Indiana and what they can do against Ohio State, and this is a big concern for Ohio State fans, as I do think that one of the strong points of this Indiana defense is the defensive line. They may not be your typical size defensive line, as some of them are group of 5 transfers and stuff, but this is still a very well-coached defensive line that Ohio State fans need to be on the lookout for and need to consider as a defensive line that will get pass rush and also do some creative things and run stopping to prevent Ohio State from running the ball very well. Back to Ohio State now. Ohio State, if Seth McLaughlin is indeed injured and out for the season, has a couple different options of what they can do here. First off, like I said, if he is indeed injured and he is indeed out for a good amount of the season, this is a huge loss for Ohio State. It cannot be overstated how much Seth McLaughlin has brought to this team in terms of leadership, has brought to this team in terms of helping the quarterback, helping the offensive line be cohesive. This is something that this Ohio State team really, really needed, was some kind of leader, somebody to pull the offensive line together, and Seth McLaughlin was that guy for them. If he is out, you are going to be looking for a new center, maybe not so much a new leader, but a new person who is going to be the center and who is going to be relied upon to help call those things out, to be snapping the ball. Fortunately for Ohio State, their last 2 games of the season are at home. Top 5 matchup against Indiana and a matchup against arch rival Michigan that many believe, if Ohio State does not beat, even with a good record this year, could spell disaster for his career and ultimately result in him losing his job at Ohio State. That's for a different video. However, the downside here is that these are 2 of the best defensive lines that Ohio State will see all season. The thought process of what Ohio State could do is they could move left guard Carson Hinzman over to center, who did start for 12 games for Ohio State last year. He, for some mysterious reason, did not start against Missouri in the bowl game, and if you watched that game, you saw how bad Ohio State's offensive line was. Many believe that since the offensive line was so bad, if he did get benched for some kind of performance thing, they would have eventually put him back into the game. And so there is an overlying thought that the left guard for Ohio State, Carson Hinzman, I didn't say his name, Carson Hinzman, was actually suspended for that game because he did an interview that did not make Ohio State very happy, and the interview actually got deleted off of social media, and you cannot find it anymore. I believe it was on YouTube where it was posted, that, but you can't find it anymore. I don't recall exactly what was said in that, but apparently it was something that was bad enough that it made the Ohio State coaching staff and the Ohio State administration not really be fans of what was said. So that's the first thought. The other thought is that second-year player Joshua Padilla could come in and start for Ohio State. Now, second-year player, there is some possible issue there, but keep in mind, Joshua Padilla was recruited as a center. Carson Hinzman was not recruited to Ohio State as a center. He was recruited as a guard, and he moved to center because of the issue and the need for him to play there. Joshua Padilla played center. He was recruited as a center. The objective was always to have him be a center. The idea was Seth McLaughlin will play this year, Joshua Padilla will be in his 3rd year, and then he'll be able to start. So the thought process of Carson Hinzman moving over makes sense because you have Austin Seierveld, who has also started games this season, moving in at left guard, and Carson Hinzman becoming the center. But you also don't want to mess up the cohesion that Donovan Jackson and Carson Hinzman have, because going back to last year when Carson Hinzman was playing center, the left guard was Donovan Jackson, who is now playing left tackle for Ohio State. And if you know anything about offensive line play, the chemistry and the cohesion of two people playing next to each other is huge. It really helps two people to be able to work together. That's why you saw the left side of the offensive line really working together at the beginning of the year, because you had not just Josh Simmons and Donovan Jackson, but they also had played together on the same side last year. And then on the right side, you had Tigre Shabola and Josh Fryer, who Fryer did start last year, but Shabola did not. And so you had some chemistry work between the two of them trying to be worked out. And if you watched the games, you saw missed assignments. You saw times where there was miscommunication amongst the two, where this guy should have been blocked, but he wasn't blocked. So my prediction of what I think Ohio State will do if Seth McLaughlin is indeed injured is I think they will put Joshua Padilla in there. I think that this offensive line has shuffled around so much that they're not going to want to worry about moving another guy and having another guy come in. Austin Seierveld never played next to Donovan Jackson. There was never any chemistry built there or anything. He may have came in for a couple plays when Carson Hinzman went down. I can't recall if he did or not, but it wasn't for very long. So there's not enough body of work there to believe that they have some kind of good chemistry that they can work on together. So, like I said, my prediction would be that Josh Padilla will start, Carson Hinzman will remain at left guard, Donovan Jackson at left tackle, which I think could work because you have Carson Hinzman directly next to Joshua Padilla. He has the experience of playing center. He can help Padilla with that. And like I said, you have the issue of, crowd noise and stuff like that. That's not going to be an issue here in these last two games against Indiana and Michigan. Although very good defensive lines, I think that you have to value chemistry more in this situation than you do some of like the starting ability and the experience starting, because even though Austin Seierveld does have experience starting, like I said, he doesn't have experience starting next to Donovan Jackson, which is going to be huge for them. So I'm curious what you all think. Do you all think that Austin Seierveld is going to start at left guard? Do you think that Joshua Padilla is going to start at center? Do you think that Carson Hinzman moves in? Do you think he stays at left guard? Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, there is a lot going on here. I did confirm with Zack tonight that we are going to do a call-in show on Wednesday night, just because there's so much around this game, Ohio State and Indiana, and we know that many of you have thoughts that you want to get out there and you want to talk about. So we have not done very many call-in shows. We were doing them for the Ohio State channel before, but we will do one tomorrow night, probably 9 o'clock, maybe 9:30. It just depends. Eastern time, but just turn your notifications on, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you here, and we'd love to talk ball with you whenever we can. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.